A new type of traffic camera is causing quite a stir on social media, sparking a debate over the balance between public safety and privacy. Good evening. I'm David Andrews.
And I'm Ann Emmerich. The cameras remember details about vehicles that pass them, storing that information on the cloud for up to 30 days. News 10's Braden Willis is live in studio to tell us why these cameras are so controversial. Braden?
Yes, Ann and David, they're called flock safety cameras, and they're used by cities, businesses, and even schools to capture information of vehicles as they pass by.
People do have a right to privacy. People do have the right to not have their data stored.
Flock safety cameras are used by more than 5,000 law enforcement agencies across the country, including the Lansing Police Department. Ingham County Sheriff's Office Captain Chancey Shattuck says his department doesn't operate any flock cameras, but would be able to access the contents captured by Lansing's cameras if necessary. He says flock cameras have applications beyond catching criminals.
Child abduction, a missing person, someone in mental health crisis, this information that's captured can assist us in locating them and ensuring a positive outcome.
But not everyone is convinced that the benefits outweigh the costs. The cameras can store license plate data, makes and models, and any other identifying features for up to 30 days. Former Delhi Township board member Taiwan Thirdgill says it's the beginning of a bigger problem.
These flock cameras pose a real threat to privacy and show us what a future of unlimited mass surveillance looks like.
Captain Shattuck says while law enforcement agencies can share information captured by the cameras with each other, none of the data captured is actually searchable. Ann?
Braden, thank you. The American Civil Liberties Union of Michigan has called for new rules to make sure car scanning cameras are not used for unlimited government surveillance.